Hey folks, thanks for joining me today. So in today's tutorial, we are going to be painting on a mold number 2 art stone made by the molds from the Happy Dotting Company. If you want to get your hands on some of your own, there is a link in the description that takes you to her Etsy shop and you can buy your own. She has so many different shapes, styles, tools to use, and I'm telling you, they are long lasting. I've had mine for, oh gosh, it must be at least 10 years or more, and they're still producing beautiful stones that I get to paint on. So great quality, worth the money, and very quick shipping. So definitely head on over to the Happy Dotting Company and grab your own if you wish. So what I did with this rock is I painted it black, as I do with most of my rocks. Then I used my compass and I drew a circle on it. These molds come with a little, I guess you can call it like a nipple or like a little protrusion that lets you know where the center of the stone is. And that's where I put the point of my compass on, and I get a perfect circle every single time I do that. You can always scrub those off just by using like a little scraping tool or a pair of scissors. It does come off very easily, so you don't have that as part of your painting. You can sort of still see mine. I didn't take mine off, and that's okay. So I painted on the background, started off with Victorian blue by DecoArt, and then I used a little bit of white to get this different variation of blues in the background. Once that's dry, I come in with my General's charcoal pencil and I draw on my design. So if you can see just from my design, or if you saw the thumbnail at the beginning, you'll know that we're going to be painting a cute little pink octopus today. So this is one of the, if you had seen my woodpecker, that was one of my big-eyed creatures. This is my second big-eyed creature. It's a sea creature. And the next one that I'm going to be doing is a land creature. So stick around for that. I am in the process of getting that one edited and ready to be posted for your viewing pleasure. So now that I sketched everything on, I'm going to paint over everything in white. Because I am using pink, I want to make sure that it really stands out. So I'm going to prime everything in white, and I'm going to let that dry before I go in with my pink color. And the pink color that I'll be using is Bubblegum Pink. This is also by DecoArt. And if there is any time that you want to know exactly what colors I've been using, or if I fail to forget, if I fail to mention what color I'm using, they all will be in the description. So I put down the brand name and I put down the actual color name so that if you wish to follow along with the same colors, you can do so. But I also urge you to definitely use what you have in your stash. Make this as fun and creative as you want to, and just let the creativity go, and let your inner child come out and play with all the colors that you have, and have fun with it. You can make your own colors too, just by mixing a couple together. So there's all sorts of things that you can do with what you have available. So I'm still putting on his tentacles there, or his little legs, and I made sure that there was 8 of them because an octopus has 8 legs, and they're quite an incredible animal. When you watch them sort of creep around on the bottom of the ocean floor, and they use their legs to pull themselves against the current and to find little places to hide. They also can shift colors, so they're like a chameleon, and they can hide within their surroundings so that prey are unsuspecting that there's danger lurking. So anyways, they are very, very interesting creatures, and I wanted to do this one to make it so cute and adorable. And I've always wanted to paint an octopus, so I thought this was my perfect opportunity to do so. So yeah, so I'm just finishing up now, getting everything sort of filled in with white until I'm happy with it, and just, you know, adding a few things here and there. Now that I can see the design, I can see where I need it to be a little bit thicker, or maybe these tentacles here that I'm doing, and I'm adding kind of like a little end to it, so it's like a hand type thing. And then I come in with my paint. And then so I use this pink paint. Like I said, it's Bubblegum Pink by DecoArt. And I'm basically going to paint over everything that is white. And in doing this, I'm not going to have to do like 2 or 3 coats because I have a dark background. This is going to allow that pink to be bright and part of the, like, show its actual color. And that's why I do the white priming. And it really helps. So you don't have to do a million coats. And you can start to see that little nub there in the center. I left it there not on purpose. It was kind of an accident. But where the design is, it kind of acts like where his nose is. So I decided to leave it because it's really cute. It's like a little nub nose for this guy. So you'll see what I mean as we start getting into doing the features on this, and getting some of his facial features on there. And you'll understand that little nub there in the center of his face is a very good placement. It's quite unique. And it happened completely by accident. So while I'm painting this, I just want to say thank you very much for joining me today. If you're new, I welcome you. I would invite you to please subscribe if you haven't already. A lot of my viewers do just pop in and they are not subscribed. It would help me out immensely if you did subscribe. It sort of increases my numbers and gets me out there in the algorithm a little bit more, and really helps me to continue to bring content to you guys. I mean, I'll keep doing it anyways. I love doing this, and I'm just more into providing the teachings of it, or maybe you just enjoy watching me paint or listen to my voice as I do these paintings. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I do appreciate that you stop by and watch my videos. But it certainly would be an amazing reach out for me if you could subscribe. Another way that you can support me is by just giving me the thumbs up, letting me know that you like this video, and yes, definitely subscribe. And if you don't want to miss anything, make sure that you tap that little bell. It'll give you a notification when I do post something new. I do try to post every Friday. Sometimes I'm a little bit late, but I do try to get new content out to you. Well, at least once a week is what I try. So now that I painted everything all pink, then I put his eyes on, and I used my dotting tools that I got from the dotting center. There is also a link in the description for that. And if you want to get your hands on a set of your own, there is a 10% discount code that is listed in the description. So if you want to get your own, or any of her other tools, or to get into maybe some of her tutorials, things like that, definitely go and visit her website. Absolutely amazing fun stuff, especially if you're into doing dotted mandalas. She's very good at doing that and teaching that. So I urge you to check her out as well. So I'm using a little sponge here that's on a little dowel stick. I got these from Michael's. They're not long lasting, but if you do take care of them, you can get a few uses out of them. I've also found that you could also cut other sponges and paste them on there after the fact. So if this one starts to get sort of worn out, then definitely you can reuse them and put more sponges on there. But I am using some Bubblegum pink, and I mixed in just a little bit of red, and it's true red, just to give me that little extra dark color. And then I'm going around and putting in all the shading. So everywhere that I think that I'm going to have maybe a dark spot or a shadow, that's where I put the color. And then if it was too thick, then I would come back in with just my regular bubblegum pink, and I would cover it up and blend it in, and that's how I got all of these little dark lines. Now it kind of looks goofy right now, but trust me, the process is real. It will look exactly the way you want it to when we get to the final stages of this, but it is just part of the process, at least my process. Not saying what I do is right or wrong. This is just what I'm comfortable with and how I do it. So not meaning that you need to do it the same way. I'm just here to provide you with some entertainment and maybe give you some tips and tricks, or maybe a new way that you want to try. I'm not saying that this is the right or the wrong way to do it. So just know that. And now what I'm doing is I am putting on all of the outlines for his tentacles or his little legs there, because I definitely want to keep them separated, and that's why I'm using the black. So it gives it also a cartoon kind of look, but it still makes him look so adorable and cute. Some of the lines are going to be a bit thicker than others, and that's okay. You can go in and fix that later, which I do on some of them. And I do have other mistakes that happen. Yes, mistakes happen, where I put my hand, rested my hand on some wet paint, and then I moved my hand, and then the wet paint went with my hand, and I ended up with a color where I didn't want it to be. You'll see that a little bit later. I'll point it out and I'll show you when it happens, but very easy to fix, and that's exactly what I did. So I'm just outlining everything, like I said, to give him sort of the separation of all of his little tentacles and things like that, and give the little curls on his the ends of his legs, tentacles, whatever you want to call them, and just shaping them up to look so cute. And by putting on that little smile right underneath that little nub there on his nose, for his nose, it just fits so perfect. So that's what I was talking about before, was once I put the facial features on, where that little nub is, that helps you with knowing where the center of the stone is, really helps, or it actually accentuate, what's the word? I don't want to say accentuate. It really, the little nub fits into his face perfectly as his little nose. And it still gives me where, you know, the center of the stone is. Does that make sense? I don't know. Anyways, so I put on some pupils, and this blue that I'm using is Shoreline. It's a very light blue. And then I'm going in with some baby pink by FolkArt. So I do use some FolkArt. I don't have a lot of it left, but I do use it every once in a while. And this is the baby pink. And I am just putting it underneath, because that's the underside of where the suction cups go. I don't know if they're actually called suction cups, but that's what I see them as. but they're basically his little feet that help him run across the ocean floor. So, and grab onto things like coral and maybe some old shipwrecks he's hiding in, that kind of thing. So, and I paint that, all of that on the bottoms, and now I come in to put in his little tentacles, or his little suction cups on the tentacles, which are on the bottom. So I'm just using another dotting tool. It's a nail stylus that I'm using, and I am using the Bubblegum pink to put on these dots, and I'm making them go smaller as I get to the ends of his tentacles. So I guess where his hands would be. I'm just trying to, compare his anatomy to our anatomy so that we know what we're talking about. I don't know. Any of you marine biologists and understand what these are all actually called? I am not. So I'm just here to entertain you and paint along with you and show you maybe some tips and tricks. I am not the greatest at knowing the facts about the creatures that I paint, but I just have fun with it. That's all I can do. Anyways, so I'm just dotting these little dots on. Basically, I'm walking the dots too so that they go smaller as you get closer to the end. And then I'm going to come in after they're dry, and I am going to use some baby pink and a smaller dotting stylus to put a dot on top of it. But while those are drying, I'm going to fix up his eyes, because when I was doing my blending and stuff like that, I kind of, got a little bit messy. And this is one of those parts where I say, you know what, you can always fix it. You don't have to worry about it. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm fixing it right now, just to give his eyes a little bit more shape before I add in the details of like his eyelashes and, all of that good stuff. And I really wanted it to look like his cheeks were up because he's smiling. So the cheeks are going to cover up some of that eye, but give it a little round bump. So that's what I'm doing here, and really defining the shapes, making sure that they're somewhat symmetrical to each other, because I'm not always that great with eyes. If you've been around for a while, you know this. I cannot do two eyes the same. I always struggle with it. Even with using the dotting tools, I still end up with one bigger than the other. But you know what? I've grown to accept it, and maybe it is my signature on that it's my painting. I don't know. So now I'm just using a blending brush. If you're curious on making your own, I do have tutorials on how to make your own blending brush and how to make your own fine lining brush, which I use almost in every single painting for outlining. I do urge you to go and check those out. They are linked in the description, so you can go and check those out and see how you can make your own blending brush and how you can make your own fine lining brush. I also have links in there to other tutorials. At the end of every year, I do a sort of like a montage of all the paintings that we did during that year. And then in the description of that particular video has a link to every single one of those. So you can just click on the link and it takes you straight to that video that you want to see that's listed. So definitely go check that out. I have an awful lot of videos and I have so much fun doing these videos, bringing them to you, and I enjoy it so much, and I love it. I love you guys for dropping in and listening to me talk and watching me paint, and yeah, I just think that it's the greatest thing, and I'm so happy to visit you once a week. Whether it's on your tablet or your phone, or maybe you throw me up on the big screen there on the TV and let me into your living room. Even though it's for anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes a day or a week, I'm so happy that you invite me into those spaces of yours and just watch along with me. It's very humbling, I must say, and I love your comments too. Don't be afraid of sending me a comment. I may not get to it right away, but I do answer every single one of them. So definitely leave me a little comment. Let me know what you think. Or just to say hi or whatever. Just to give me maybe a heart emoji or, whatever you want is totally up to you. So I'm going to get back to what I'm painting here. I threw on some eyebrows and I put them really high. Oh, there I'm fixing some of my boo-boos. You'll see at the left side tentacle there's some extra pink on the outside, and that's because I stuck my finger in it. And yeah, so I will let that dry and I'll fix that up in a couple of minutes. But right now I'm going to focus on his eyes. I guess it's more of a her. I mean, it's a pink octopus and she's got these beautiful wispy eyelashes. I think that it is a she. It's not a he. And I'm just making her eyes look so beautiful and very welcoming and inviting and friendly, all of those good things. And with the eyebrows being up so high means that she's like excited or curious or happy, and there's no wrinkles in her brow because you get wrinkles in your brow when you frown. So she's not frowning, and so she gets no wrinkles in her brow. Now I'm putting in just a few little dots here that kind of look like bubbles, and these are with the Victorian blue mixed in with some white to give me a different color. And then I'm going to let these dry, and then I'm going to come back in with my fine lining brush, and I'm going to add a little bit of white swoops to give it the illusion that they're bubbles. But before I do that, I'm going to circle my design with my favorite absolute go-to Glorious Gold by DecoArt, and I'm going to circle around the design with that original circle that I drew with my compass. And that's where I can fix up that little boo-boo there by just putting the gold paint over top and just, making her sort of popping out of that little circle. So now I'm doing those little white swoops that I was telling you about. I'm putting them on the top of the bubble, but right now on this view, it's the bottom of the bubble. But when I turn it around, it'll be on the top. And all I'm doing is just adding a little bit of white paint and just giving it a little bit of a swoop with my paintbrush so that it's like light reflecting off of the top of it. Because if she's down in the ocean, the light is coming from the top. And that's why we did it that way. And now I'm adding her little pupils, and then I'm going to outline the blue so it just, makes it that even more cuter. And then I'm just going to add a couple of white bloops onto her eyes just to also add the light source bloops. And that's about it. So I let this dry, I give it a coat of resin, and then it's finished. So there you have it, folks. Life is what you make it, so get creative.